So what's your best elevator-based joke?
There's no point. You have to wait for the punchline. Give it a minute. According to all statistics relevant to the matter, elevators are literally one of the safest forms of transport on planet Earth. A fact that can be credited to the tireless work of one man, Elisha Graves Otis. The inventor of, well, the safety elevator, a device he inexplicably had trouble selling to the public until he demonstrated its use in the most badass way possible.
Before we get to Otis,
Yes.
I find it kind of hard to believe that literally every form of transportation is beaten in safety by an elevator.
Oh yeah, including walking, I should point out. The amount of deaths, yearly, caused by elevators are so low that it's considered basically a statistical anomaly. And for people who prefer hard facts, your chances of being killed during any given elevator ride is this percent.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for it.
Well, I know, because I can't remember how many zeros it is. I know it's like 0.00000015% maybe. And I should point out as well, this figure down here is actually higher than it would be for a member of the general public, because it's thrown off by the fact that the majority of people killed by rogue elevators are elevator repairmen. So if you discount those deaths and just consider the actual risk to a member of the public riding, a working elevator, you are actually statistically more likely to die of a heart attack while taking the elevator during the 2 minutes it takes you to take it than you are during the ride itself. And that plays into a statistic that I love. Because do you know what the most dangerous activity you do every single day is, Brad?
I'm going to throw a curveball then, seeing as is it sleeping?
No, walking downstairs.
Really?
Walking downstairs is the singular most dangerous activity probably in the world, given how many people get injured and die doing it. You can say something maybe playing a sport is more dangerous, but you don't play a sport 15 times a day. People walk up and down the stairs so often that your odds of being injured by it just increase. And you can look up, if people are interested, because I've done this for research for articles, the statistics for injuries around the home, and the stairs are fucking deadly. They actually, they are the number one killer of people over 60. The fucking stairs, man. So if you fall down the stairs and you're old, that's your hip gone. And obviously when you're old, you can't recover from that shit like you did when you were a young man. Bungalows are the future, but at the same time, you can dramatically increase your chance of breaking your hip by living in a bungalow. Because the act of walking upstairs every day is considered minor exercise. And obviously as an older person, that's really good for you. Which is obviously why...
Stop confusing the old people, Karl. They
crazy,
can't live in bungalows, they can't have stairs.
There's a statistic that says living in just walking up a flight of stairs every single day is this minor bit of cardio that raises your heart rate. So people who live in bungalows die earlier.
I felt like during that conversation we were marching towards a Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
Killer stairs.
Killer stairs.
I'm thinking horror movie poster, what do you reckon?
What, for killer stairs?
Yeah.
Well, no, because that would be the poster. It's the inverse of the poster for the Killer Elevator film, where the tagline is "Just take the stairs." She's like, well, you're telling us on the poster how to defeat the primary enemy of this movie. Let's create the deadliest set of stairs in history, Brad. So obviously, you've got a stair lift on the stairs, but there's a gremlin underneath it, which is ready if you try and take that, which will fling you out the window. What can you have on some of those steps to make walking up those stairs the most dangerous stairs in the fucking world?
Home Alone.
Oh, which
got to have the nail.
With the specific big nail and the fucking thing on it. I'm going to say a banana peel.
Oh.
You've got to have a banana peel on one of them.
We've got plenty of steps to put one thing on each.
Oh, yeah. So we've got the banana peel, a Lego brick on one. Not to kill you, just to annoy you. I think on one of the stairs as well, it should just not have a stair. So do you know that thing when you walk down a flight of stairs, it's a double stair and you don't realise it?
Yeah.
And it completely just takes you out of the moment and nearly kills you. You do it and your foot lands, and for that brief moment, you're like, that's it, it's game over. We're thinking too small though, Braggs. What we need now is the giant swinging blades from Prince of Persia or some shit that you've got to jump through. And then on top of that, jokes, fuck it, the laser hallway from Resident Evil. Go right at the top, ready to come down. So you have to Leon Kennedy your way through it.
Well, seeing as this is coming out in quite a long time, you've seen the most recent Game of Thrones, right?
Yes, I have.
So you know when Drogon goes over Daenerys' shoulder before she says Dracarys?
Yeah.
That at the top.
Okay, so you've got a dragon just peeking over the top, ready.
And we've all seen the Changeling where the stairs set on fire, so fire all the way up. Do you reckon? Do you reckon that's dangerous enough?
I think it's though, we started small with a Lego brick, and now we're just no, fuck it, put a dragon at the top and lasers. You know what? Yeah, that's the most deadly set of stairs in history. Like, taking those stairs is probably more dangerous than an elevator.
So considering this is a big box hanging from a string,
Yes.
why is it so safe?
Because elevators have a stupidly sophisticated array of safety features, all of which have backups and redundancies. And the best example of this I can use are the steel cables that hold the elevator up. And I think most elevators use 7 cables, but the number varies, depending on where you are in the world. But for the most part, generally speaking, one of those cables can hold up the entire elevator when it is fully laden. It's just that they put more than one in because people don't want to ride it if there is more. Like, if you see it hanging by one cable, you don't feel very secure. So they basically put in just cables for show. They are there for no other reason than to make people feel safer, because the one single cable can hold the entire fucking thing. Another one is that the weight limit of most elevators is complete nonsense, because as I said, there's 7 fucking cables usually, so it can hold 7 times the maximum stated weight. It's just they put that so obviously to stop the elevator getting overcrowded, which is why some elevators, they don't even have a weight limit, they just have a person limit.
Yeah.
Because they know it doesn't matter how, it's more just for the comfort of the people riding it. There's a lot of other features we could talk about, but I just like the cable one, because that only exists because an engineer at some point was cornered by a guy building an office block or something. I don't like the look of that elevator, don't look very safe. And you had to sit down and tell him, look, mate, each one of these cables is individually strong enough to hold up the elevator at twice capacity. It's fine. And he goes, no, you need to put more cables in. It's and he thought, it's easier to put more cables in than it is to explain to this chuckle fuck the mechanics of what it's you know what, fine, we'll put more cables in. It's like that moment in Friends. It's there's no phalange on the plane. Rather than try and explain the phalange is not a thing on a plane, just say, no, we put more in.
You have to get off the plane. What? Why? I have this feeling that something's wrong with it. Something is wrong with the left phalange.
Well, not just Friends, there's a lot of things in real life that are similar.
Yes.
A loading screen on a computer, that's clearly not the computer's actually working through the screen. That's for the viewer to be oh, I've got 70% done.
Yeah, and obviously it's not so much an issue now, but back in the day when computers weren't as powerful as they are, the loading screen was something engineers and stuff fucking hated, because obviously it took up RAM that the computer could use, but you had to have it to show the user that something's happening inside the machine, because without that they felt oh no, something's gone wrong. I don't have any visual feedback. Or another one is the button at traffic stops, just change the light. Most of the time they do fucking nothing. They are there so you feel like you're doing something rather than just stood like a fucking lemon for 10 minutes. And to bring it back to safety features, I think electric cars is another one where in some electric cars, they artificially pipe in engine noises when you press the pedal down to give you that audio feedback, because people are so used to the engine making noise when they press the pedal that in electric cars they can't pass what they're doing or how fast they're going, and that's really fucking dangerous. But it's also for those dickheads who want to hear the engine. Because if they just press the button and it just goes and they fly off, that doesn't sound very satisfying. They can't have that Vin Diesel moment where he revs up the engine and the entire car rattles to pieces. I think it's cooler that the car makes no noise, because it sounds and looks so much more high tech, but it just flies off like something out of Tron. But no, there's dickheads out there I need my engine noise. If it's louder, it's more powerful. That's how it works. And they put some in for those guys. It's similar to, you'll get people who put drill holes in their exhausts, which is a thing people do to make their exhaust sound louder so the engine sounds more powerful. If it's loud, it's inefficient, because it means the energy from the engine is not being utilised, it's not being put to the wheels where it belongs. You don't hear a fucking engine of a Formula 1 car, do you? Do you know they actually acoustically tune the engines of Formula 1 cars? Ferrari acoustically tunes its engine so they sound nice. They do it on really high-end cars as well. They actually bring in sound engineers to tune the engine, because obviously they want it to sound as pleasing as possible. And that's the thing they do. You can look it up. I'm not making this shit. It sounds so fake, doesn't it?
I guess it makes sense.
If you've got a super high-end luxury vehicle and it sounds like shit, you're not going to drive it. Every aspect of the ride has to be as luxurious as possible. They bring in sound engineers and they tune the engine like they would a piano. And I think someone out there is Ferrari engineers actually played a song on a Ferrari engine. So if you want to put that in, because that's quite cool.
So without further ado,
yes.
How does Elisha Graves Otis come into the elevator safety story?
Because he invented the granddaddy of all elevator safety equipment, the brake basically, and his was a spring-based one that was held, I guess what's the opposite of being sprung?
Unsprung?
Unsprung. by the tension of the rope holding the elevator up. And if that tension was to be removed, say by the rope snapping, the spring would spring out. It's really confusing. What's the terminology with a spring?
I'm pretty sure there is a word for it. I don't think unsprung is...
Is it unsprung? Because it's coiled, isn't it? When the spring is coiled, it's held under tension. But when that tension is released, like the spring springs out, and it would snap to the side of the elevator shaft and lock the elevator in place, thereby stopping it from falling and killing everybody inside. And this sounds like something so basic that it was probably invented the day after the fucking elevator. Because why would you ride an elevator that didn't have even the most basic piece of safety equipment attached to it to stop you dying? But it wasn't. And it's reported that Otis ended up designing it because when he was working in a factory somewhere, he noticed that none of the workmen would dare take the elevator or use any of the hoist and pulley system to cart heavy loads. They'd rather carry it because they were that worried about it snapping and killing everybody. They had so little faith in it, they refused to take this system. They do it the hard way rather than using the device specifically invented to make the job easier because the risk to their lives was deemed too great. And he went, well, that's fucking stupid. Let's make a system to obviously make the elevator safer and to the safety brake he made. All elevators today have a similar system. Obviously, it's more sophisticated, but Otis is the guy who thought, well, maybe this device should not fucking kill people if it fails. Maybe there should be at least one redundancy there to stop it killing everybody, which just seems like common sense, but obviously common sense isn't that common. And there are loads of inventions like the famous one is the can opener was invented 70 years after the can. So people figured out to put food in cans, but not how to open the can.
So how did he demonstrate this? It seems kind of awkward to demonstrate an elevator stopping brake.
Yeah, you could showcase the brake, but no. Otis wanted to do something more dramatic, more visual. So what he did is he actually constructed an elevator shaft in the middle of the exhibition hall and had an elevator put into it and stood on it himself and had it hoisted about 24 feet up into the air and then started working the crowd, trying to get people to gather round to tell them he was going to show them something that was going to blow their fucking minds. So let's set the scene. Otis is there. He notices that there's a sizable amount of people watching. He's Willy Wonka in the crowd, get them all excited and hyped up. Points down to an assistant no one's noticed yet, holding an axe, who just so happens to be stood next to the rope, holding the entire elevator up into the air. Otis then instructs that assistant to cut the rope with the axe as he stands there completely motionless. And we don't know how he was stood, but I would presume he was stood with his arms crossed like a Japanese mob boss, about to beat someone the fuck down.
So the assistant then cuts the rope with the axe?
Yes, and the elevator drops about an inch, if that, before Otis's invention springs into action and locks it in place. And obviously the crowd gather. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. They all whoop and cheer. Because according to contemporary reports, they lost their fucking shit. And what Otis did then is he told the crowd and gathered media, if you want to have peace of mind riding an elevator like I did just then, make sure you only ride elevators that are my safety device equipped. Unfortunately, there is only one elevator company in the world at the moment that has the rights to sell this invention. Mine. So as you can imagine, after that, Otis never had trouble selling his invention ever again.
You got to appreciate the balls on someone to do a sales pitch like that.
Yeah, put your own life at risk to demonstrate, the use of your invention. And there are plenty of stories of stuff like this out there in the world, and I fucking love all of them. A famous one is the guy who invented, you've probably seen videos of it online, and it's the bandsaw, where if a finger touches the bandsaw, it automatically turns off. You can put the clip out there, because the guy who invented it shows it off at trade shows, or he doesn't have to anymore, because obviously there's videos out there and doing it, but when he first invented it, he noticed that loads of people accidentally cut their fingers off on these things every year, and he invented a device that basically runs a current through the saw, and if anything completes the current, say a soft, fleshy human finger, there's a device that basically stops the device dead and snaps the saw in half.
You gotta be kidding me. Let's see it. There's nothing. That is amazing.
A saw blade worth about $15. Your finger, you fucking need that shit, don't you? So he said, this is a device that basically eliminates this risk from sawing shit forever. And he apparently tried to say it's Black & Decker. And they said, well, we don't really see the benefits of this device because it'll increase the price of our bandsaws. So Elisha Graves Otis, he went out and just made his own fucking saw, took it to trade shows and showed people oh, that thing of accidentally cutting your finger off that happens on every other saw currently for sale in the world. Here's mine. Boop. Just puts his finger in, it just stops. There's loads of stuff like that. It's, another one is, I think it's in the UK. There's this company, I forget the name of it, but you can find the guy's videos because they are fucking amazing. And it's personal protective equipment, like PPE. and like stuff like stab-proof vests and things like that. And the guy who owns the company appears in videos wearing his own safety equipment, where his like employees try and swing at him with an axe. He lets people do that to showcase how like stab-proof his stab-proof vests are. And I think one of them, he actually hits himself in the chest with a knife. Like proper like harakiri it up, and it's like, don't work. This is how fucking good it is. It's ballsy as fuck, and I respect the damn hell out of it, mostly because it's the owner of the company in these cases doing it. They don't get an employee, they step in and go, no, I'm so confident, I personally am going to put my own life at risk to demonstrate how fucking good this is.